So I based off a video on this topic before that I recently just uploaded, and it was video games are to be blamed yet again. This is absolutely really stupid. And what politicians really want to do is, prevent the sales of violent video games in a lot of places. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you who actually play these kind of games out there don't really do this kind of stuff. Like, you play violent video games, like, often, but you don't get that sudden urge for, going out there and beating people up, or, going out there and starting, like, some kind of mass shooting and that stuff. Next thing that's gonna have to happen is what would happen would be what would happen if you find yourself playing violent video games, like daily? Maybe you can't play these kind of violent games daily, but maybe just as often as you can, and you possibly can't do it daily because you have a work life ahead of you and that stuff. And I completely can understand people having to work and not able to play games daily. Like, it can interrupt your time for playing Call of Duty Black Ops, GTA, or Fortnite. I don't even care what it is. But apparently, politicians want to blame video games yet again for the cause of the, for a lot of stupid reasons. The insurrection, mass shootings, whatever. And it's like, it's like there's nothing you can do about it. And yet we have to deal with these politicians just taking away the games that we so enjoy and that stuff. That we gotta let, the people decide what we can have and what we can't have. It's very stupid for politicians to decide how the people should live and that stuff. And I didn't think that America would actually get to that point. So, yeah, a couple states have, stopped the, sales of violent video games because it teaches, it, it, to politicians promotes, it, promotes, um, mass shootings, total bad behavior. And like I said in the other video that I made, um, um, if you can't bring up proof that violent video games cause violence in the real world and that stuff, then you best just shut up and stop dealing with the headaches of trying to take these companies to court, knowing that you're going to fail because you can't provide any kind of evidence that that video games cause violence in the real world. It's the exact kind of thing with the voter fraud situation that's going on. People tried so hard to actually be loyal to the former president of the United States back in 2020. Trump was the president since 2016, and when he lost on election day back in November, he was pushing the conspiracy theory that there was absolutely a bunch of voter fraud. And he even made a threatening phone call to Georgia saying, I want you to go out there and I want you to find me those votes that I so need. And that stuff. And he was threatening the the Georgia elected officials. And his lawyers were doing everything they can to push the belief that there was absolutely voter fraud. And that's what people get sick of it and stuff, is people try to push the belief that there is evidence that this has taken place or that this has happened. And, you go to court multiple times and that stuff, and you do your very best to actually prove that this is real when the evidence is shown that the belief that you're trying to push that is completely false is because the evidence doesn't show what you're trying to push. If it's voter fraud, it's not going to be there because there is no proof of voter fraud. If there's no proof that video games cause violence and that stuff, well then you're just gonna, lose a court battle if you want to. You can go to court as many times as you want and, try to prove your point and that stuff. But don't get me wrong, when whatever belief you're trying to push on voter fraud or, the idea that video games cause violence and that stuff, if there's no evidence, the best thing you could do at this point, I said it before in the last video, that you just need to shut up and, accept reality. I understand people want everyone that plays video games to be, responsible for their actions. That stuff, I understand that. But, don't... the one thing you gotta remember is you should, continuing to stop being a stupid moron, like a stupid politician who doesn't even know the law, what it says, what video games really do. And let me give you a rundown of what video games actually do. Okay, they don't encourage violence in reality, that stuff, and that's a fact. That's a fact right there because research shows that. But video games are meant for relaxing. They're meant for having fun and that stuff. And the people who play violent video games know how to play the games responsibly and not go out and do this kind of crap. If it comes to playing, if you're making a real big kill streak in Fortnite and that stuff, the next thing you're going to want to do, a responsible person would not go out there and go shoot up people because of making a kill streak. You know what they would do? They would actually, they would, say, wow, that was... I can't believe how good I actually did with that. I practiced a bit more so I can actually, take on other players online and that stuff. Versus, I'm gonna go out there and I'm just gonna, be the most stupid idiot that I can out there because I play these violent video games. That's not... That's not what video games are for. They don't encourage violence. And here's what people... And here, when you play violent video games, you have choices on whether... are you gonna, play violent video games and know that if I did this in reality and that stuff, the end result would end up being I get arrested for, committing a mass shooting or a vandalism or whatever and that stuff, and, give the cops the, oh, it's not my fault, it's the video game's fault. It's the video game's fault because, well, it's teaching me to do this. It's teaching... No. That's not a good excuse. Because there is no proof that they cause violence. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like what was said here, please like and subscribe to the channel, Charles Moores, and I will see you all later.